Flight Fam, I'm extremely excited for this video today. So we brought in a physical therapist to work one-on-one with our clients, because after our clients lose a whole bunch of weight, they get aesthetic, they look their best selves, then they have other problems like they have back pains, hip pains, neck pains, knee pains even. And so we brought in our physical therapist to help with every single problem our clients have after they get in shape. And so watch the whole video. I promise you it will give you a 10x return on your time spent today. And after the video, if you need more resources, if you have questions on our one-on-one, we are actually closed for enrollment until the first week of October. But if you DM me on Instagram at Adam Garrick, I will send you all the calls with our physical therapist, one-on-ones with our clients. And if you want to apply for one-on-one coaching, when we open back up enrollment in the first week of October, I will send you the waitlist application as well. But with that being said, guys, let's get right into the video.
Started back in Sweden, where they basically invented physical therapy. So that's where I got my education from. And I've been a physical therapist now for 20 years. And my specialities are basically sports medicine and psychosomatics. And psychosomatics is sports medicine is self-explanatory, I think.
Yeah.
And then we have the psychosomatic part, which is issues that arise from, well, more of your mental capacity than anything else, but they are as real as physical, ailments. So a lot of pain, like fibromyalgia, migraines, stuff like that, that doctors just, push away. They don't want to deal with it. So they send them to me usually. I work there. I work with disabled kids. I work with athletes. And I had my own clinic where I focused mostly on psychosomatics. Then I became a manager at a sports clinic as well. So I worked with a lot of athletes, a lot of runners, basketball players, since that's my forte, MMA fighters. And we dove deep into more of technique, biomechanics, and weaknesses, unbalanced muscles, pretty much. And that's where I think we come into what you want to discuss today, with the neck, mid-back, and low back pain. There's a lot of explanations being found if you look at the foundation of people. It's okay to do something when you're 20 because you won't see the effect of it when you're 20. But once you grow a little older, and maybe 25 or 30 or 40 or 50 like me soon, you will feel it, definitely. So we're looking into that and trying to stop that prior to it happening. So the prehab concept is pretty new in physical therapy, but that's the one I used in Sweden. And it's blowing up pretty much. Prehab, yeah, instead of rehab.
Okay. Interesting. So what's the difference between the two?
So rehab is after the injury already occurred and you're trying to get back to where you used to be.
Yeah.
And prehab is that we are looking to find the origin of what might cause the injury and stop it before it happens. So looking at those imbalances pretty much is key.
Interesting. I've never heard of that before. I have heard of that, but yeah, no, it is kind of like injury prevention. You see Knees Over Toes guy to name one of the programs that are out there. But yeah, does that go into like preventing the injury before it happens?
So pretty much that. And that's the most important thing, because if you can't be consistent in your training, you lose out, right? And if you lose out, you get behind. And it's very hard to cover that gap once it started. And we had a lot of athletes that I had a couple of basketball players that blew out their ACL, and not one time, multiple times. And the doctors are just looking at one thing, the knee and the ACL. And when we screened this guy and put him through a battery of movements just to see how he moved, we found out that it was actually the other side that was the reason for him blowing out his ACL all the time. And we asked him, like, what happened to your I think it was the left side. And he said, like nothing. I said, yeah, but you say the right ACL has been blown out 3 times now after surgery, even.
Mm.
And he realized that he had broken his foot when he was a kid, and he didn't even think about that. So the stiffness of his foot caused the the other side to work much harder and getting more tired, of course, and then essentially blowing up the ACL.
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to look at the foundation that you talked about. Uh, that's key. And it in any sport that you are standing up, moving, running, whatever, it starts with the feet. So you have to go through the whole thing.
Okay. So it's all about prehabbing is what I got from all this. It's all about preventing it before it actually happens. So
Yeah,
I think it's interesting. It's crazy. Other than a few minor tweaks, never had any type of injury ever in my life. And I think, people say I have good form, whatever the case may be, right? But
yeah,
um, and everybody else here hasn't been injured. None of you guys have been injured, to my knowledge,
yeah.
since you joined the Take Flight coaching program. So that's great. Um, but like, what should the average like? Hey, kind of like we work on our computers, or what should the average person be doing to like make sure that they don't get injured, right? So that like they don't get injured during their workouts specifically, right? Because, I mean, I work out pretty hard, right? Like when I go to the gym, I work out pretty hard. A lot of you guys I know, we'll get into introductions in a second, guys, but and announcements, but you guys just do regular workouts. Like so one, like what would you say are like the dangers that people who are just like okay, like me, who are going to the gym working out hard, and then also people who are just kind of like moderately working out. What do you think are the biggest dangers that we might not be thinking about
So
in pertaining to like getting injured?
yeah, so you are like probably the type that you want to be an athlete. You have it naturally. Your body knows how to move. And with the new sedentary lifestyle that we have, and a lot of people that are not used to moving start moving, but they don't know how to activate the muscles in the right order or which muscles are doing what. So
Mhm.
it gets confusing for them. And that's I think that's the biggest reason to why they get injured all the time. We can take the bench press because that's a very simple exercise, you think, but there's a lot of technique into that, and most people that you see in the gym don't have that big chest, even though they can bench press with a 50-pound dumbbells or whatever, and that's because they're using their shoulders instead of their pecs, and
Mm,
then they get the shoulder injury, and then they stop training altogether usually. So,
mm, damn.
and you have that natural ability probably that I've seen in top performers. It's that the scaps are locked in. So the scapula on the back on your back is actually the one that you need to lock so you can push with your pecs instead of pushing with your anterior delts. So that's one of the most important things that I could come up with, and that goes with a lot of other things.
Got you. Okay. Yeah, no, I think that's an interesting standpoint right there. I think you're absolutely right. So I tell people this all the time, you want to work like your actual muscles rather than working your joints, right?
Exactly.
So let me give you an example. So when you're doing like push-ups, right? When you're just doing push-ups, um, specifically when I'm doing push-ups with other people, like not in the gym, right? If I'm doing push-ups at home or at someone's house, I'll be like, hey, let's do push-ups. And they'll be like, well, you're not going up all the way. Like sometimes they'll go up all the way, up all the way. But like I'll have to explain to them, like, my goal isn't to like do a perfect push-up. My goal is to work the chest muscles. My goal isn't to work my joints. My
No,
goal is to work my chest.
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, it's like you want
Exactly.
to have that balance between like, yeah, you're trying to work the muscle you're trying to work, right? So if you're doing push-ups, you're trying to work chest and then front delts, right? And so that's what it's all about, you know?
And that's pretty much key. And they do that in the service too, in the military. They want you to do a perfect form, but the perfect form is not locking out all the time. Not at the top, because then you activate your shoulders instead. Like you said, you're going into the joint instead of using the pick. So that's very important. And today you want to talk a little about neck, mid back, and lower back pain, and that's another issue that you have, like with people deadlifting, for example, and think that's a dangerous thing to do. Yeah, with bad form, I would not recommend it. But if you learn proper form, it's different. It's an exercise you want to do for your lower back, to be honest.
Okay.
So that goes into, again, you have good technique. Some people are just naturally gifted. They know from the get-go. But if you haven't done sports, or if you've been in sports where you had a coach that was not very good at this, you're probably gonna have bad technique that's gonna make sure that you get injured, probably, more or less. Or if you
Yeah.
push too much too soon, too heavy, you know.
Mm, yeah. 100% ego lifting is what they call it. They call it ego
Okay, that's
lifting.
fun. I haven't
um,
heard that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, it's always good to like work up and work up and work up. But yeah, I really appreciate that. That was an interesting insight right there about like prehabbing and how it's actually getting a lot more popular because I mean it's like, yeah, why not prevent it
Yeah.
instead of have to rehab it once it already happens.
Yeah,
So yeah,
exactly.
um, that's great. So over the last 3 months or so, I've definitely asked you guys a lot of questions in pertaining to, like what you're struggling with your joints wise, hip joints, back joints, whatever the case may be, right? I've definitely asked you guys this. Um, and I got a lot of mixed kind of feedback. Real quick, MJ. So Sunil to my right here, he's been client for like 14, 15 months or so. It's been a while, right? So Sunil's a VIP client. So
Okay.
he's great. But yeah, Sunil, I definitely asked you kind of like what you're going through. I know you told me like low back and everything like that. But like what would you say you're, if anything, right now, you're struggling with joints wise, um, back wise, neck wise, even. What would you say?
Yeah, I would say I work from home and I spend most of the day like at the computer and everything. So I would say probably low back and like so yeah, sometimes my neck area too.
And you're in front of the computer most of the time.
Hmm.
So yeah, so neck and lower back is the modern society's big issue here, because we're living very sedentary. We're sitting down a lot. We're watching screens, and your head is carrying it's 8% of your body weight, unless you're obese or anything. But relative to your body weight, so it's 8%. And if you lean that forward, your neck muscles have to work overtime just to keep the head in place, and they get tired of doing that. Of course, that's not their mission. They're supposed to be there for short stints of time, and the rest is going to be balanced on your cervical spine. So that you have to take like micro breaks from the screen, which I know is very hard, but micro breaks are like 5 seconds, so it's
Oh,
not too much. Yeah. So let's say that you work for 5 to 10 minutes and take a micro break for 5 seconds. Just like look away from the screen, stand up, or sit down still, but sit straight, and just release the tension in your neck, because otherwise you're going to have neck problems a lot. And the head is heavy. So, especially if you're intelligent. And then the lower back pain comes in. There's a different aspect of that that I like to announce is you're sitting down a lot. So now your hip flexors are getting weakened, and they call it shortened, but they don't really get shortened. I would like to say they get tight or dysfunctional. And lot of people don't know this, but the rectus femoris goes to your hip and your
Oh, wait,
pelvis.
guys, I'm sorry to cut you off, MJ. I just
Yeah,
want to let you guys know, definitely go follow MJ on Instagram, as well. You provide a lot of value. So, but yeah,
yeah.
this is
Thank you. You're all
yeah,
welcome to follow me. I will post more things, so more things to come. And
absolutely.
also the iliopsoas is another muscle that's inside that also goes up to the back, and this is the hip muscle that I'm talking about. That's very important. That a lot of people they overlook, actually, even physical therapists, my colleagues. This one pulls on your back if it gets tight or weakened.
Mhm.
So and that's going to happen if you have a job where you're sitting a lot. So I drive a lot, for example. So I notice, like, if I sit in the car for like 3 or 4 hours a day, and that makes me, of course, have weakened hip flexors, and they're tighter. So I need to stretch them out and I need to work them. Because if you don't work them, you don't get the blood flow into them. And if you don't get the blood flow, you're not getting the metabolic uh, rate coming into them. So you're not getting the nutrition that the muscles need to be active.
Mhm.
So those things, I think, is for if you have a seated job, these are the key points that you need to look at. One is to take the micro breaks for your head, and then you need to. We're meant to stand up, so you have to stand up and strengthen your hip flexors, and also do some flexibility exercises. And that's up to you what you like to do. Like if you want to do yoga, do you want to do stretching, or do you want to do some martial arts? That's up to you, of course. Find something that works for you, that you get joy out of doing, so it doesn't feel like a pain to do it. That's the best exercise is the one that gets done correctly.
Yeah, that is true. That is definitely true. And Adam knows that. Adam definitely knows that.
Good.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else that you would like to ask, or you want me to add, or?
So how important is uh, like the posture that you're using when you, because like you're sitting at the desk like the whole day. I mean, is it like, do
Yeah.
I need to be like actually like sitting like that the whole day, or I need to be like sitting back in the chair with like support or
Yeah, so your body's normally gonna try to move because it doesn't like to be
in
stagnant in the
one?
same position all the
Mhm.
time, of course. So you're gonna wiggle back and forth. But if you have the opportunity, can you work standing? So can you
Yeah,
stand up and work on the laptop for a little bit? Change it up a little. Do you have like they're not Bosu balls. I don't know what they call the big ball, plastic balls. You can sit on one of those,
Oh.
and then you can bounce on it. You move around, at least you get some lubrication of your joints at the same time as
Mhm.
you're working. So it's simple things, small things, but over time they will compound and help you. So
Mhm.
that's one of my key takeaways with training, is always the compounding, like it's compound interest. It's the same for your
Mhm.
health. Small things over time will get you a better life.
That's
So
true. Mhm.
doing the little things, just the little things. Just
Mhm.
start with one thing. I don't know if you read the book 1%. So try to get better 1% every
Mhm.
day, and just doing one thing, and get that to a consistent level, and then you will see it will just start becoming more and more easy to do those things over time.
Mhm.
So pretty much that. So change your position as much as you can. If you can stand up as often as possible.
Yeah, I tend to. I do tend to do that, but yeah, yeah. So like, just make sure I don't stay like whether it's my neck or like my back. Just make sure I just move around
Yeah,
periodically.
that's why we have a body. Otherwise, we would just be a big head, probably.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
But no, I think that's really important fact that you mentioned, MJ. Like the best workout is one that gets done, and 1% better every single day. We often kind of think of, hey, I have this goal, right? I have this goal. I have this goal. one of my goals when I like my first year of college, right? I wanted a new car, right? Because I just wanted a new car. I was like 19 or 18, something like that. I was like, okay, yeah, cool.
Amen.
So I actually did like get a car within like 3 months, right? Like I like worked, I saved a lot of money in like 3 months, and I ended up buying a car, right? And then after I bought that car, I was like, well, what's the next goal? And I was kind of like, I was going to school, but like there's no like, crazy like goal in my mind. And so I was just like stagnant for a year, 2 years, and I think a lot of times we have this goal, like especially when you come into the Take Flight coaching program, you're like, hey, like I have this goal, like I'm trying to lose 50 pounds in 2 weeks. Right? No, I'm kidding, right? But like I'm trying to lose 50 pounds, right? And
Yeah.
so, and then once you lose the 50 pounds, then you're like, oh, cool, yeah, I lost the 50 pounds. But I mean, like if you ask Oprah, right? Like advice, she lost 20 pounds, gained 20 pounds, lost 20 pounds, gained 20 pounds, you know what I'm saying? And so it's just like, I think it's all because, we have this goal and then we hit it and then we're like, oh, cool, I'm there. And then we just stop hitting it, stop working out. And then our joints get more stiff, and we just kind of like get stagnant. And then next thing you know, like we're just, in terrible condition. So,
We talked about this, you and I, before, Adam, and I don't know if you remember, but we had the discussion on how to make a change, and I told you that a program can't be like only 6 weeks. It should be a span of 52 weeks, which is a year. Okay, but if you say a year, it's not strong enough for anybody to accomplish. If you say 365 days, that's too much for somebody to look at. But if you say 52, is 52 a doable number in most people's heads?
yeah,
And if you just, yeah, I think so. I mean, like, if you say to me, train 52 times, I can do 52 times. If you tell me to do 365 times, yeah, I will say no. That's too much. But 52 times I can do. And if I can do 52 times, that means once every week. If I add that habit to my life, what do we get now? You're going to be at the new baseline after 52 weeks. And you're going to look in the mirror, you're going to like what you see and what you accomplished. And then you're going to say, hey, I'm going to keep doing this and I'm going to add in other things to this. Because now I have a different baseline and I want to take it to the next level.
right, right.
I've been doing that myself here when I came to the States 4 years ago. So the first 2 years was pretty much COVID. So I was out of the game. And so I started running because not that I like it, because I don't, to be honest. It's very painful and it reminded me of how bad shape I was in. But I kept tugging at it, and now I'm at that point where I have a group. We run every Sunday. I have guys from 27 up to my age, 47, and we're running 6.2 miles every Sunday morning. Sunday morning. Imagine guys coming Sunday morning. First thing they do, wait after they wake up, is coming out to run 6.2 miles, and we're enjoying it. And we've been doing it for 52 weeks now. So that's a
Wow.
milestone, yeah. And that's added to I have a U.S. Marine, I have an Air Force guy there, and so I have from all kinds of groups too. I have recreational runners, I have stationary guys that don't do anything, that sit in front of a computer, and they started running, and now they added that, and they see all the benefits that coming with just doing one thing every week. One thing. That's all I'm asking. I told them 52 times, this is what I want to see from you guys. 52, can we do this? Can we commit to 52? And they could. And they're doing so much better. The U.S. Marine, he's a big dude, strong, and he was just lifting weights. He was in terrible condition except for the weightlifting. And now he's in great condition. He had ailments that went away, and he likes running so much that he's running on his own now twice a week just to break me. So
Uh,
so Small
incredible.
things, small steps. Yeah. So everybody's doing their own pace. Everybody's adapting to what they can do. I told them, like, hey, if you feel that 6.2 is too much, you go 1 mile first time, you go 2 miles the next time, you go 3 miles. And then after a while, you're going to be able. We're waiting for you if you're running the whole set or if you're running the half set. Because we have a midpoint where we stay so everybody can, gather and see that, okay, we're doing good and then run back. So one thing, just one thing for a whole year, that's all you have to commit to. And I think as a person, as a human being, you're worth it to yourself. You should do that for yourself.
Yeah, man, I think that's incredible that you're getting everybody on the running. I mean, 6.2 miles, that's
Yeah.
crazy, right? I mean, even for me to say that per week. Um, but I mean, hey, if you're just starting a fitness journey, oh yeah, it'd be really crazy, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, hey, if we go to this right here, if we go to the American Heart Association recommendations for physical activity in adults and kids. So it's like get at least 150 minutes per week. Like what
Yeah.
percentage of Americans are getting 150 minutes per week of moderate intensity aerobic activity, like cardio, or 75 minutes per week of vigorous aerobic activity, or a combination of both, preferably spread throughout the week, right? So how many Americans are getting 150 minutes per week? Maybe 10% of Americans.
Yeah. That will be pushing it, I think, even.
Yeah, I would say so. And like so spend less time sitting, like so none of us have this all dialed in 100%, right? But once they get on their runs with you, like 1 mile a week, it's like boom, already
Yeah.
covered this in a day,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean that's incredible right there. But yeah, I mean it's just like you're doing something that's incredible because Americans need this, right?
For
Like
sure.
50 minutes per week, and if they could knock that out in a day, like boom, you know what I'm saying? That's incredible.
This is
A good start, you know what I'm saying? So
this is a great nation, and I love the people here in this country. I love this country, and I know that the Europeans don't look kindly upon America, but I have a different view of it. I really love America, and I definitely want to be a part of what you're doing to change it. So what Full Body Flight is doing is educating people and getting them on what they need to be on. The probably like the best drug in life, like training, to be serious, like endorphins, everything. It's good for your health. And Americans need to get more healthy because this nation deserves it. And we should like start. I love it that you're an entrepreneur, you're young. And when I met you, we talked about this, and I saw like, wow, this guy, he got fire in him. He wants to do something. He wants to change something. And you already started. You believe in yourself, and that's the American way. There's no other way. You have a
absolutely,
dream, and you're gonna fulfill it.
absolutely, yeah. No, we want to, you know, above all, I talk to a lot of people and they're like, hey, I can't do this because of that. Everybody has limiting beliefs, right? I can't do this because of that. I can't do this because of that. And yeah, I mean, okay, like some of it is true, right? Like if you are, Nate Robinson, for example, like and you're trying to be the best center in the NBA, it's like it's not gonna happen, bro. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Same way if you're Shaq, and Shaq wants to be like he's like, I want to be the best two guard in the league, right?
Yeah.
It's never gonna, I mean, never say never, right? But
Yeah.
I think we all have like capabilities, but here's the thing, like none of us have even grazed the surface of our true potential, right? So for example, so a lot of the fitness industry, they guys do steroids, right? They don't tell you that, but most of them do steroids. And what a lot of people don't understand, they're like, hey, should I get on steroids? Should I get on gear? Whatever the case may be. And but they don't understand that they're not even close to scratching their potential.
No.
You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, I think a common theme, like with us, is that like we underestimate what we're actually capable of doing, either because like we're too lazy to actually do that, or there's no drive there. But I think if there's drive, and if we believe in ourselves, um and we're not lazy, you know what I'm saying? um I think we can get there. We can all at least get close to our potential, because most people, they're not even getting close to it, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But yeah, like that's our whole goal at Full Body, is just to like make people believe that they can actually achieve. Because it's easy for me to say, because I've actually helped like about 100 people now, like actually dial that in,
Yeah.
and like dial in their physique, and just like the crazy client results that we have. Like, I don't know if you guys saw my story the other day, but all the client results, it's just like, and they're like the high value client results. Give you guys some recognition here real quick. But yeah, like the client results are insane.
But this is what we need. We need this change. And it's a change of mindset. Like you say, I mean, I don't think people are lazy. They just don't understand that they're worth more for themselves. Taking care of your health should be key. You're going to pay now or later. But when you pay later, that's the time when you're retired and want to take it easy. And then you're on 50 different medications instead, and just paying bills to be taken care of. And you don't have to do that. And I think the mindset should also be that you're rewarding yourself doing these things, not that it's a necessity to this and that. That you should reward yourself by training, by eating good. That's what you should do. Like, I don't know how many of you are religious, but if you are, if you believe in God, and God created the human, and this is the temple that he's talking about. It's your body, because there's a soul living in that body, right? So you want to give it the best nutrition. You want to give it the best circumstances to thrive. Like you said, find your potential. And this is like from a guy who wasn't very religious until I moved here. But I think that
Absolutely.
that's reward yourself, in the name of what you're created for.
Our body's like a car too, it's like,
Yeah.
would you put the wrong oil in your car?
No.
Yeah, so it's like that's our body's a car, and like we take care of the car, and we put the right things in, get the right things out, right? But over the past 2 years, so right, we've been here for roughly 36 months. So about 33, 32 months that we've been doing this. It's insane. But I mean, like Dacia lost 10 pounds in 2 weeks. One of our clients, she didn't want to be named, but 31% body fat to 24% in 50 days with PCOS. Caleb, 77 pounds in 14 months. Owen, in 13 weeks, he's looking more aesthetic right here. Sunil, 40% body fat to 14% body fat. Like, Sunil, I'm like, bro, you just like, it's like insane the results you got in the program. 14 pounds in 8 weeks.
Yeah.
22 pounds in
Great.
12 weeks for Frank. He's not here. But yeah, it's just like, when you see kind of like what people are capable of, when people have the right system and they have good communication structure. So I think a big thing that I've been focusing on the last 12 months or so is making our communication structure just rock solid, and like making sure that everybody is um like taken care of, and everybody's like reaching their goals in the most efficient way possible. Like in the most efficient way possible, people are reaching their goals, and with the right communication structures, like accountability structures, implementation structures, like it's all about the execution, right? It's what a lot of people don't understand, is that like, yeah, like once the top of the funnel, right, is like, hey, you're learning about something, right? But that's not going to get you to the bottom, right? That's not going to get you to your ultimate goal, just simply information. You need that execution, and then you need the implementation and the accountability infrastructures, like those are so important. And then also calls like these. Like I would say that this is why I want to encourage you guys to like come to every single call, is because these calls are the most important. Like out of everything in the Take Flight coaching program, out of anything in any program you're ever a part of, it's like always the network and always the calls and always the insights that we can attain, to help push us forward.
It's great value in having this to an opportunity to discuss or you know get different input mindsets and help grow each other, because that's what it's about. Yeah, you have to build a team like this and push yourself further. And like you say, I love it that you say the accountability, because that's one thing that this country stands on, is also accountability, right? Nobody's holding your hand. I came from a country where they hold your hand.
Absolutely. Really? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and it's crazy how much it limits you. Imagine you having your parents around all year, all your whole life, holding your hand to do everything, never letting you do anything by yourself. How how productive would you be? How much would you live?
Wow.
Yeah, but you come here and they say you're on your own. You make
Yeah.
the decisions. You make decisions every day, and that's going to be your life. So
Yeah.
it's beautiful. I love the freedom. That's what the freedom they talk about when you come to America. This is the American freedom they're talking about.
I love that.
Yeah,
I
you
love
have
that.
the
No.
choices.
Yeah, no, I know we're striving to be our best versions. For me, fitness is nothing more than I'm not super crazy about fitness. I'm not super crazy about health and fitness, but it's just like every other part of my life is drastically improved for the fact that I work out 3 days per week minimum, and I keep that dialed in.
Consistency is key.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so yeah, like this has been like a great call, guys. Like this has been a really great call. Um, so uh, we got your insight, Sunil, like what you're dealing with. Like what about you, John? What about you, Connor? Do you guys have any like thing you might be struggling with? This is John, MJ.
Yeah.
John's one of the coaches. So he was a coach in the Navy. So
Okay. Good.
incredible.
We got a couple of Navy guys too.
Yeah. But yeah, any feedback do you guys want to give, as to any questions for MJ, or, like kind of like more of what you guys are struggling with possibly?
Well, just some insight on like I agree with the small habits because um, my dad raised me to be physically fit, so I've never been fat a day in my life, so
Yeah,
and
I
I'm
love
starting
that.
to realize that when like people tell me like you've never been fat, you don't know where I've been. Yeah, because I put in the extra effort. I You don't know where I've been.
No, exactly.
So I mean,
Absolutely.
And thank you for your service as well.
appreciate that. Thank you.
And we thank you.
I love the insight, MJ. I'm very big on nutrition. My biggest things are nutrition because before I joined the Navy, I was a wrestler, and when I
Okay.
was a wrestler, that's a high performance sport. So as a high
That is the
performer,
one of the highest, I would say.
yeah, you have to pay very close attention to what you put in your body to see what gives you energy and what doesn't. And the runs, I love the runs. My dad started with my dad dropping me off at a trailhead for 2 hours. All right, see you in 2 hours. So I got up to like 15 miles in 2 hours. But the
Wow.
6.2, that's a good 10K. I would, yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good hour for me.
Yeah, that's a good. Me too. I'm trying to push it a little lower now because the youngsters are faster than me. So trying to get to the 45-minute mark.
All right, like we got us older guys, we got to show them off. I'm 35, so I
I
mean I've
agree.
had a bit of experience, but
Yeah.
just, just keep it going. And I love the neck. Man, the neck thing is huge because As wrestlers, we're taught, or the head, strengthening your head.
Yeah,
The head strength is huge because as wrestlers, we were taught to strengthen our neck, and it just like it made things a lot easier. And then you're talking about form when it comes to working out. I know for push-ups, I'm always keeping everything like straight. My form is
yeah,
very. I'm back problems. Never had a problem with that because I've always had the form because
perfect.
Dad drilled that into me a long time ago. So it's like,
You had a great
uh,
dad, or
yeah,
have a great dad.
I do. I would say, yeah, he trained me very well, and yeah, my push-ups are basically they in the Navy they a couple people call me like they would joke and it's like, all right, let Dana White come out here and model these push-ups for us because mine were just so like set in what I was doing because I
Exemplary.
was all about form. Form,
Yeah,
form, form was for me because like
yeah,
proper form will get you so much further.
exactly. It's like not cheating.
No, it isn't. Um, cheating on you're cheating. The only person you're cheating on is yourself.
Yeah,
And yes,
exactly.
okay, I do cheat on myself. I've done this a long time. If we haven't taken cheat day, well, cheated on a workout, I mean, come on, you're fooling yourself. But
Yeah,
you just
exactly.
don't feel as good as you do when you're not when you actually do the full workout sometimes, you know? So at least
Exactly,
there's something.
exactly.
Plus, I think when we talked about this earlier, but like working out, like understanding what you're working, like when you're like you want to actually when you're doing your workouts, you want to understand what that certain workout is working, right? So, like for example, a lot of people work their joints doing shoulder exercises, doing push-ups, but it's like, yeah, if you just have that mind muscle connection where you're like boom, 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 it's like you'll work that like muscle group. You're not going to work your joints. I think that's really important,
Exactly.
you know.
It is.
Yeah, all good stuff, guys. Connor, so did you have any like thoughts? And I know you expressed you were excited to meet MJ. So like tell us a little bit about like what you're going through, like back pains, um, XYZ, whatever the case may be, and maybe we could find a solution for it.
Sure. So, I'm kind of similar to Sunil. I sit for most of the day because I'm an
Okay.
architecture student.
Okay.
Um, I've been
Good.
working out for 2.5 years, so it's definitely helped a little bit. But I definitely have like forward head posture and tight pecs, tight lats, bit of a pelvic tilt.
Okay.
And sometimes I get like pain in the bottom of the ribs.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, that's basically the struggles I've had.
So since I'm so old now, you're doing more stuff on the screen, I guess. Back in the days, they used to draw on paper when they did architecture. So are you still doing blueprints like that, or are you doing it on a computer nowadays?
It's like 90% computer at this point.
Okay, that's good. Okay, that
So
that saves you a little at least, because being bent
yeah,
over a paper for hours is not a good posture at all. But I would say probably the same thing I said to Sunil is you have to take those breaks. I know it's hard, especially when you're inspired as an architect. I mean, you want to sit and finish it because it comes in a whiff, right? Usually.
hmm
But you have to take those breaks that, rest your head, put your head back on your shoulders again and not lean it forward all the time. And like, don't cruise over from one screen to the next. Don't go and look at the phone 5 seconds after. Try to just take a breath and focus on your head. And then the same thing, like the pecs also gets a little. So you said you're tight in the pecs. You feel like they're struggling to
yeah,
open up.
I stretch them every day, but they always like tighten back up, like my shoulders round like forward. If that
Okay.
makes
So
sense. It might be more
yeah, yeah.
like front delt. I'm not sure.
So yeah, so probably that what we're talking about with the bench press or push-ups that you do. The Adam should probably assess your form a little. And there's a muscle called the pectoralis minor that's beneath the big pecs. and that one is an internal rotator. So when that it gets overloaded, it's stiff, then you're gonna have that problem, and that's probably because the technique is not 100% yet. Even though you're working out a lot, maybe you're going for more reps or more weight instead of going for good technique. So that is something that you definitely should work with Adam and make sure that because you have it naturally, so it's hard for you to understand probably, but that small things can change a lot, but they do over time. I had the same issue, so I know exactly where he's coming from and what he should do. And
yeah, no, if you like take videos and everything like that, and then send them over to me, then we can definitely check that. But what were you gonna say, Jay?
no, so these are the small muscles that take over where they're not supposed to be, or don't get activated as much as they should be. So stretching could help, but could also not do anything because it's not addressing the real issue that you're having. It's not that it's tight, it's overworked, it's weak because of the technique you're using when you're doing the bench press or the push up. So that's a very important thing. And again, look at the back. The back is super important to see if the scaps are, you know, there's a muscle that's supposed to hold the scaps towards the back. And if you don't, then they wing. And if you see that they're winging, then we have another issue that we have to work with as well. So it's all about being very aware of what you're doing at the moment. Like you said, what muscle am I working out right now? And where should it feel? And focus on it. Maybe the hardest thing I think is that you have to drop weight maybe or drop reps. And you don't like that because I was doing 20 of these without issues, and now I can only do 5. But you're doing 5 good ones, and those will eventually be 20 good ones. But it will take the time to get there, and just bite the bullet and keep working on it. That's it. That's all you can do. 1% every time you go there, and just if you finish off 5 good ones, it's better than 20 bad ones. I promise you that. Did that address your issue, Connor?
Yeah, I'll definitely work on that.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a lot of technique. So basically, and some people are just gifted, and it's crazy how gifted they are because they don't even know what they're doing right. So, and we don't know what we're doing wrong.
Mm. Mind if I ask a question for you, Connor?
Go for it.
So how do you do your push-ups? Do you do your push-ups with your hands at shoulder or lower or above?
I usually have my hands pretty narrow and like
this?
out here, like below the shoulder.
Up there? Your elbows, are they in? Or are they kind of just pointed in or more out?
Oh, like an arrow, 45.
Okay. So one of the best techniques I've ever found, these made me max out on my push-ups every single time I had a PFT, was instead of pointing them like this, I'd point my hands out slightly like this, keep them at my shoulders, and keep my back straight. And it was just, I don't know why, it just became so fast and efficient, and I was really good at like just I don't know what it was. Like MJ saying, I've been doing push-ups since I was a kid. I don't know what I'm doing right. So, but I do know that it's this technique. As soon as I found it, I don't do them any other way. If I need to get a bunch of reps in quickly, efficiently, and effectively, like I can go all the way down and touch my chest if I want to. If I want to get a full range of motion, as well as now, correct me if I'm wrong, MJ, Adam. But dynamic warm ups where you're using weight to get the full rotation, not like to get the workout, but like that will help build up the joints and the muscles and strengthen those parts that seem to be in pain. Is am I saying that right?
Yeah, you're increasing the blood flow basically. So yes, and you're getting the synovial membranes working as well, which they need to do so they can get the juices in there to lubricate the joint. And to your point is, I love the show that you said, like I point my fingers a little bit out. That's a great lockout for the scabs, because if you lock them out there and you push your hands out, you go into, I don't know if you know about the Russian Spetsnaz trainer Pavel Tsatsouline. He was the one who like made kettlebell very popular, but he's doing the push-ups exactly like you do, because you get that circular spring motion when you're pushing it out, so that activates the chest more and keeps the scabs locked. So it's perfect.
It feels like it has
perfect.
so much power. It's
Yeah.
just like explosive power.
Yeah, exactly. And so you're doing it right. You didn't know why, but now you know.
Yep. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. Oh, what do you think about dips? Do you think dips would help with that issue as well?
So dips, I would say the same thing there, that you have to be able to get your scabs locked. If you can't lock them, dips will probably tear on your shoulders more. And there's a couple of different dips to do also. So, but the scabs, how crazy it might seem, the back has so much to do with your chest. So that's one thing. If you can't lock the scabs, that's what you have to focus on. And if you can't keep them locked for 1 rep, that's how you start. And then you build it to 2 and 3. I know it sucks, but that's the way to do it.
I need to get a pull-up bar.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, hey, all good stuff, guys, on the call today. All good stuff. So I'm happy that we could get you guys all on here. Sunil, I haven't seen you in Take Flight Tuesday in so long. I mean, like we know what you've been up to. Sunil actually got married, by the way, so about a
Oh,
month.
congratulations.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I hope.
congrats.
newlywed
Thank
right
you.
there. Yeah. Yeah, so
All that good food from the wedding, time to work off.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
The real life starts now.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for
Yeah.
real, for real.
I love that. I love that.
Awesome.
Thanks, Adam. Thanks for bringing everybody together.
Thank you guys.
Yes, great
It was
job.
a great call.